What does it mean to be a hero? For the simplest people, a hero is somebody who can save people all the time, or does save people all the time, like a superhero. In the real world, heroes are EMTs, soldiers, and civilians can become heroes too if they do something heroic, put their lives on the line for somebody else. But some people can live their whole lives without ever having an opportunity to do something incredibly heroic, without ever seeing the burning building full of babies and kittens to run into. Sometimes being a hero is on a metric of how many people loved you and looked up to you and respected you. I think Terry was a hero. Terry Bannock was somebody who everybody loved. The amount of people my parents' age who speak so very highly of him is mind-boggling. Terry was an artist, a father, a kind soul, and the chillest guy I ever met. He was the life of the party well into his old age. He threw some of the best parties at his cottages that I've ever seen, full of friends, fire, food, and drinks. Terry entered my life before I was even born, having met my dad when he was a teenager. My dad would hang out at this house as a teenager with Terry's son, Mark. They would build things like this skateboard ramp. Terry really looked after the people younger than him and all the people around him. He was always prepared to help out. He was so loved that when I first moved in, one of the neighbors actually came by to sort of threaten me and make sure I don't, screw Terry over in any kind of way. We're cool now, though. He ended up giving me some fresh corn, and I think that hopefully he knew that I wasn't there to do anything wrong. Clearly, Terry had his respect, as Terry does have my respect. When I was on the verge of homelessness 18 months ago, Terry opened his home to me and offered me a place to stay. It was a lifesaver. Every other room for rent that was in my budget seemed to be exclusively for temporary students or young women. Either that or just downright unacceptable places to live. I'm going to be grateful to Terry for the rest of my life. That simple act of kindness is the reason that I have any money to my name right now. He's the reason I found my cat Finley, who I love. And he's the reason that I had the space and freedom to continue doing the things that I love, like play music, ride my dirt bike, snowboard, work on my car, all that stuff. Me and Terry lived together for just 18 months before he passed, and in those 18 months I really began to admire him. He wasn't perfect, mind you, and sometimes it was frustrating to share a space with him. He wouldn't let me clean stuff sometimes because he was a pack rat and he loved his things, his treasures. And he wouldn't let me talk to him about his finances when I could tell that he was being ripped off or scammed by somebody. He wouldn't listen to me. Which I'd like to say, by the way, I know a lot of the people watching this series are on the older side, and I would like you all to please take some time, go and watch some videos on how you can protect your cybersecurity. It's very important, and the scamming industry in India alone extracts $140 million from the American taxpayer every year. Terry fathered 3 kids. If the name Bannock is familiar to you, maybe you are familiar with his son's music career, the Pemberton Project, or his son Dennis's snowboarding career.
The guy is the most powerful snowboarder I've ever seen, hands down.
Dennis, as a kid, his nickname was Rubber Boy, Rubber Man, full stunt man, launching shit blind on dirt bikes and knocking himself out. We were running around, no parents to be seen. Get back up and hit it again.
Learn life. It was awesome. We were a bunch of fresh dudes just learning how to snowboard, and we just went and charged that mountain.
His kids and my parents and my aunt are all old high school friends, and I'm very sorry for their loss. They've been a big help to me. Terry was widowed when he lost his wife in 2005. He loved her a lot, and he still talked about her all the time to me. I'm sure that they're happy to finally be reunited now. Terry was a tough guy. He wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty well into his 80s, doing heavy lifting, all that stuff. Not to mention his stature. I'm 6'3", and he was still bigger than taller than me in his 80s. The guy was a bona fide mountain man. This unfortunately changed as his health began deteriorating rapidly after being diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. He went from being fully capable to being unable to walk in only a few months' time. This was hard to watch with how highly I regarded him, but he retained his dignity through it all. Terry's life was a rich tapestry of adventure, from building houses to Australia to his many other professional endeavors. He could tell you story after story non-stop all night long. Terry was part of a dying breed. The adventurous and the kind-hearted are dying off, and we should all try and be a bit more like them. Be a bit more like Terry. Rest in peace, Terry. Thank you for everything, and I love you. So, what's going to happen now to the house that Terry's gone? The truth is, I don't know. So this house Terry didn't own this house. He leased it from the federal government. This whole area is owned by the Transportation Department and is currently in the process of being switched over to ownership to be owned by the Parks Department of the federal government. I've met with the property managers and the people from transportation many times, and while they haven't really been able to help us, they've reassured me that there shouldn't be much of an issue getting the lease over to me or to one of Terry's kids. Of course, they don't know for sure because they're still in the long, lengthy process of switching the ownership from the Parks Department over to the Transportation Department over to the Parks Department. So it's still up in the air. I do have other prospects, other places to go, to live. My friend of mine is renting a house now, and he's saving a room for me just in case. My parents also have a rental property that's pretty far away. I wouldn't want to move that far away, but if I have to, I will. For the time being, I just don't know. We're waiting to get a death certificate from Terry and then possibly switching the lease over to me or one of Terry's kids. But the honest truth is I might not be able to stay here forever. And I might be doing all this work for somebody else's benefit. But hey, sometimes you just got to do things whether or not it benefits you. So that's the attitude that I'm going to continue to do this stuff. And hopefully try and make it look good, make it look like I'm a good tenant, that I'm fixing this place up for them. Maybe that would incentivize them to keep me around. And if worse comes to worse, maybe I'll get a lawyer. Who knows? Like I said, it's a total mystery to me. But in any case, I'm going to keep working on the house. And I'm going to keep just doing what I have to do. Episode 3 is probably going to either be just a little upgrades on the house, like just doing some drywall and some electrical stuff like that, or it's going to be making the garden out front, which is what I've been wanting to do that for a while. So you guys let me know down in the comments which one you prefer to see, the garden or the upgrades, and if it's looking like if there's any preference from you guys, then I'll lean more towards doing that. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.